What's up, YouTube? This is True Raw for TV. So, in this video, I want to talk about the media, right? The mainstream media, in particular sports, okay? And I've always talked about on this channel narratives and how the media will influence people how to feel about players. You know, it's almost like a subliminal thing that they do with athletes and players or whatever. You know, with Carmelo Anthony, for many years you heard Carmelo Anthony is not a winner. Um, he doesn't really know how to win. He's lazy. He doesn't play defense. I mean, how many times do you hear people say that about him? As if he's the only player in the NBA from 2003 onward who may not have been the best, a first team all defensive guy. Even though if you watch him play, that's not true. It's not a true statement, but people say it just because they hear it so much. So that's the power of the media. So lately, what's been going on is this. Um, they're really going at Kyrie Irving here. And the first thing they're going to do if things didn't pan out right in Brooklyn is that they were going to blame Kyrie Irving. They're not going to blame Steve Nash, okay, for obvious reasons. They're not going to blame him. Just like with the Warriors, they're never going to blame Steve Kerr, even though the Warriors are playing a little bit better than I thought they would right now. So that seat's not as hot right now for Steve Nash. Excuse me, for Steve Kerr. But this is the thing they do. You know what I'm saying? They have a guy who we all know who the number one guy is in the NBA. So I can say his name. If you're a perceived foe of him in any way, there are certain people in the media that are going to have it out for you. Already, I see people taking what's going on now, what's transpiring now with Kyrie Irving, and trying to compare it to what happened 4 years ago or 3 years ago, and say, see, that's why uh, that guy and him didn't click. It wasn't the other guy, it's this guy. See, he's the problem. See, I told you he's the problem. Now, look, I always try to be fair, um, but I'm honest. I think that Kyrie Irving is one of the most talented and most skilled players I've ever seen. Okay, from a talent standpoint, from a skill standpoint, he's phenomenal. He hit the biggest shot. Got to give him credit where credit's due. He hit the biggest shot in the history of the Cleveland Cavaliers organization, and his contribution to that championship does not get enough appreciation. He's been sort of Scottie Pippen in that aspect. Okay, but for all of that, I do have some criticisms of him. My personal criticisms. I don't think he's a natural leader. And I'm not trying to hate on him. I just don't think he has the personality to be a leader. Um, he tried it in Boston. In today's world, a lot of these guys they don't go for a rah 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 um, alpha male type thing. They kind of want a guy who caters to them, caters to their egos. These guys are not and that sort of They don't want an authoritarian leader in the locker room. That generation is gone. I don't think Michael Jordan would work in today's NBA. His personality. I don't even think Kobe Bryant's personality would work anymore, just because of the way these guys are made. The only reason why Kobe was able to still do what he did was because he was Kobe Bryant, and his respect and his legend had already been so entrenched that he still was able to captivate that respect. But being a young pup coming in, or a younger player who had quite established himself, it doesn't really work today in today's NBA. With Kyrie Irving, I think what's going on is this is a guy that has come into his consciousness as a young black man, and I think that he's conflicted. Okay, I think what's going on with Kyrie Irving is that he's conflicted. Um, I keep hearing that he's a deep thinker. I think the fact that he's a conscious black man is conflicting with how the NBA kind of works, and that you're almost a slave. You get paid millions, but you're restricted in how you are to be your role. Like you play basketball, you talk to the media, even when you don't feel like talking to the media. Um, Being a public figure can be confining. You don't really have your freedom. I think the novelty of being a basketball player slash celebrity has worn off on him. And, I think he sort of sees being an NBA player as almost like a slave master relationship with the players and the organization and all that. You know, I think he hates the media. And in that way, I can't really blame him. And I also am wondering if he's maybe falling out of love with basketball. I mean, that's what I'm seeing. I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting from him. Like, maybe he thought coming into this season with a guy like Kevin Durant and all these great players on his team that might kind of reinvigorate him a little bit. And I think he's feeling like he's not feeling it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm 100% wrong on that. Maybe it's something else. Now, I've seen the story today about him being seen partying with Drake or whatever. Um, like I said, I don't know what's going on with him, um, but it would be nice if he would kind of clarify what's going on with him. I know he doesn't like the media. I know he feels like he doesn't owe it to people. But the longer you go without kind of clarifying what's going on, the longer they can manipulate people into believing a false narrative, and they'll do their talking for you. When you should just come up and say, you know what I'm saying? Look, this is why I'm not playing, blah, 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 blah. And then, say you put the defender record out there. The reason why I have Russell Westbrook up here is because Russell Westbrook is also part of this narrative, this negative narrative that they have toward certain players. Now, some of it, I guess you could say, is his fault. A lot of people say I cap for Russell Westbrook. And maybe part of it is I see a lot of criticism toward him. A lot of it. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen an NBA player quite criticized and even hated as much as he is. And I even more so than LeBron. And I'll say the reason why I say that is this: you have people who hate LeBron, but you also have an equal portion who love him. There are very few people who love him. You know what I'm saying? Like I only know of one other person who really likes him like I do. Everybody else either are indifferent or they hate his guts. They don't like him. And the main thing I hear people say is that he's a loser. He's stupid. Uh, he does dumb things on the court. Okay, but why should you hate him for on the court stuff? Shouldn't you dislike a person more for things that they do outside of basketball? Like, don't get me wrong, I've criticized James Harden, but I don't hate James Harden as a person. His game bothers me. I don't like his game as a basketball player, but I don't hate him. But some people say like they hate Russell Westbrook. Why? It's the same dude in the wake of Nipsey Hussle's tragic death. He vowed to put up a 20-20-20 game in his honor. And he went out there on national television and he did it. You can call him selfish or a stat pad or whatever the situation may be. But in the end of the day, he did that. And, sometimes the narrative pisses me off. I'll see people say he steals rebounds and he's a stat padder, but when Luka Doncic does the exact same shit, it's off of his skill. When Nikola Jokic sometimes pads his numbers, it gets overlooked. When LeBron James does it sometimes, it's not talked about. Well, Russell Westbrook, all he does is still steal numbers and still, pads his numbers and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Look, at the end of the day, I never saw Russell on the same level as those other guys. He's now on the same level as LeBron James, obviously, or Kevin Durant. He's now on the same level as Kyrie Irving. He, to me, is going to be a Hall of Famer more based on his numbers. Um, he's going to be in the lower tier. I've never saw him and I've never really compared him to all these other guys, you know. But the way the media bashes him, you would think like he was the bad boy of the NBA, like he was Dennis Rodman, like he was doing outlandish shit outside the court. He's not. It's the same dude that was protesting when all this shit went down last year. You know what I'm saying? This guy reps his community. He seems like he's a good father, provides for his family, a good husband. What's up with the fucking hate? You know what I'm saying? It's excessive. And it's starting to become excessive with Kyrie Irving. Both of these individuals do things for their community and for their people. Okay? There's some things you can criticize both of them for, but at the end of the day, they do show love for their people. That's why I don't ever want to go too far in my criticism of either one of these individuals. But for Luka Doncic or Nikola Jokic, oh yeah, I will criticize them. And if you want to call me a racist for that, I don't give a fuck. Because the media does enough for that anyway. You know what I'm saying? The media does enough of that for everybody, for either one of these guys. They were doing it for Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony can hit 1,000 game winners and they don't talk about it on ESPN. But let him go 1 for 11 from the floor and they'll talk about it. These people have agendas, man. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, fuck ESPN, fuck Fox News, and that's why you should only listen to people to me, on social media. Like, you listen to the LDBC, listen to Brother Ticket, listen to L1LBZ, listen to LB, Mahari, even though we might not agree on every fucking thing. But one thing I'll say is that we will present factual information on our channels, or try to, okay? There's not any agenda at play, any of that bullshit. So that's all I got to say. Tell me what you guys think.